But now they are aligned. 11 days ago, Bobby suspended his independent campaign for president, endorsed former President Donald Trump. So what are the great things he's got in mind for the Trump administration? He joins us now. Thank you for joining us, Bobby, and taking this opportunity. Why wasn't it a better move to stay neutral and command the attention of both sides as long as you could for the duration of this campaign?
Well, it became clear to me, Chris, that I was not going to be allowed on the debating stage, which was really my only path to victory. I was already being boycotted by all of the mainstream media, by the liberal media. When Ross Perot ran, in 10 months that he was running for president, he had 34 appearance interviews on mainstream media. In 17 months, I had only 2 live interviews on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC. So I couldn't reach that audience. I had no way to grow. And our polling was showing that if I stayed in the race, Vice President Harris would win. And I did not want that outcome. I don't think that Vice President Harris is a worthy president of this country. I think we need to have a president who can give an interview, who can articulate a vision, who can put together an English sentence, who can articulate her and defend her policies and her record, and who can engage in a debate and regular debates on unscripted appearances. Vice President Harris's speech at the convention made it very clear that she will continue the warfare state, that she's bragging about how she sees warfare as a tool, as the frontline tool of American foreign policy. This is a catastrophe for our country. We've got to unravel the warfare.
You think Trump would step away from Israel?
I don't think he's going to step away from Israel. Israel is in a defensive war. And Trump's policy on Israel has been much better in the past than the Democratic policy. So that's not going to happen. But,
Ukraine is in a defensive war also, but he hasn't been as sympathetic to that cause. That doesn't bother you at all, Bobby, that it seems to...
I don't consider Ukraine a defensive war.
Who started it?
I think that was a war. That was a war that was not. We're being told in this country that this is a war that is territorial. It's not. It's a war that was over security and that were legitimate. And I'm not excusing Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine. He had other choices, but he warned us. We tried to do something we shouldn't have done, which is to put NATO in Ukraine. And not only Putin, but every leader since 1992 of Russia has said that is going to be a red line. We went in 2014. We overthrew the democratically elected government of Ukraine, and then we started the process of putting NATO in the country, which they said was a red line for 30 years.
Right, but Bobby, it doesn't matter how long somebody says it's a red line. You can't justify violence in a political situation. You don't like that NATO is going to be in Ukraine? Okay, you've been saying it for a long time. Okay, that doesn't make it okay if you go in and start a war and start killing innocent people for years on end. It sounds like you are doing exactly what you say you're not doing, which is justifying aggression.
No, I'm not. And I'm happy to talk to you about the history of this. In 2014, the aggression was coming from the Ukrainian government, which killed 14,000 ethnic Russians. And if that was happening in Mexico or Cuba, for example, if Cuba were putting U.S. missiles in Cuba, we would go in there. This happened in 1962. And my uncle's entire staff wanted to go into Cuba. He finally made an agreement with Premier Khrushchev at that time that we would remove our Jupiter missiles from Turkey, which were on the Russian border, which they had a legitimate security concern about, and we did that. And then we signed 2 new intermediate nuclear weapons treaties with Russia, and we walked away from those. And we said we're going to put Aegis missile systems in Romania and Poland, which we moved NATO into those countries. We're going to do the same thing with Ukraine. If we did that, we'd be able to, in 4 minutes, decapitate the entire Russian leadership in the Kremlin. And that's something that we wouldn't tolerate that happening in Canada. We wouldn't tolerate it in Mexico, Cuba. We wouldn't tolerate the killing of 14,000 American expatriates in those countries. We would go in, and we wouldn't say we were the aggressor. I don't want to talk about that issue. I want to talk about, what President Trump has said. And President
but it's
Trump
all part of you joining the administration. What I want to...
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. No, I am. I'm segueing. The segue is, in the first administration, there was talk that you may get a position. It didn't happen. Why do you believe he's going to give you a real position, and what do you know of what that position might be?
Oh, yeah, I'm not, I'm not, we're not talking about a particular position for me in the government. What the agreement was about, what our agreement about it is about a unity party, about unifying our party over certain objectives. And this will allow me to continue to disagree with President Trump on issues that I don't agree with him on, and him to disagree with me. The issues that we agreed on were ending the war, ending the censorship and the surveillance state, and ending this war on our children. The chronic disease epidemic, which has now disabled about 60% of American children. When my uncle was president, Chris, 6% of American kids had chronic disease, Americans. Today it's 60%. When my uncle was president, we spent zero of our budget on chronic disease. Today we spend $4.3 trillion. It's the biggest budget item. It's the biggest cost to our country, and it is. And 77% of our kids are not eligible for military service because they're so sick and so disabled. This is destroying our country. There's no other nation in the world that has this chronic disease burden. We've got to end it. We know what it's coming from. It's coming from toxic foods. It's coming from, we have 1,000 ingredients in our foods, Chris, that are illegal in Europe. And we're destroying our soils. We're destroying small family farmers.
You got a good issue. I just hope he lets you do something about it. And I know that I've heard your speeches and the agreement. I haven't heard Trump say otherwise. So, if it pans out, it's a good thing. I still remember when I was a kid, you telling me, hey, that chicken you're eating, you're not supposed to be able to cut it with a fork, It's meat. And it really opened my eyes to a reality. One last thing while I have you. What do you care if they take your name off the ballots of these states? I thought it was a little bit of an arbitrary and capricious thing when I was first looking at it. But I feel for the natural law party all of a sudden, Bobby. That they're not going to get on the ballot otherwise. You made a contract with them to be on. Leave your name. That was the deal.
Well, the irony is, Chris, we have been trying to get on the ballot in every state, and we've succeeded now in doing that. And now we're taking ourselves off in the states where we would harm President Trump. The Democratic Party, which was suing us to keep us off the ballot in those states, is now suing us to force us to be on the ballot. If we're talking about principles here, I think that I ought to be able to be on the ballots where I want to be on, and not be on the ballots where I don't want to be on. But there's a law,
and you made a deal for those natural law people. If you're not on it, they don't have any ballot presence.
Yeah, I understand that, and we're talking with the Natural Law Party and trying to make sure that there's a resolution that they're also happy with. At this point, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get off of the ballot in Michigan, which is where the Natural Law Party is, so that probably will not be an issue.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.